Hi everyone, this is basically just a little bit of a venting, I guess, on my end, and hopefully someone can relate to it. This is all just therapy, all these videos. I forgot to mention that. It's just it's just for me to have some catharsis, some release or something. But if they happen to, I don't know, promote something in you, then it's, then at least it's not just a garbage dump or something, me just spewing. And basically the topic of spewing today, the topic to spew out today is basically that I don't know, I never knew what it meant to really be a human being, how to live as a human being, and how to really excel or thrive or even survive being just a human being, because that's all I thought. I'm just this human being, just another kind of another brick in the wall or something, like Pink Floyd talks about. And then of course in spirituality the promise is that I'm so much greater than that. I'm so much more. There's so much more beingness to my humanness, There's so much aliveness. I'm not just flesh and blood, essentially. That's kind of the core of the revelation. When we go deeply into ourselves, we realize, wow, I'm not a thing. I'm not just an object that is gonna live and die. What I am is really beingness. What I am is really presence, is one with love, one love. There's all these ways we can point to it, and yet at the end of the day, it's like, even with all these revelations, I'm still a human being right now. And I have these really crunchy emotions in the lower half of my body, and repressed stuff that I haven't looked at because I was so busy trying to clamber into the awakening zone, the safety zone of my own awakening, and not get back to being me as a human being, as this guy chatting on YouTube amongst so many other guys and girls who are doing the same thing because of whatever reason, but not being in touch with my own humanity. Because in a way we could call ourselves being human. So we recognize our beingness and then we be human. But for myself it was all about thinking human, thinking about myself as a human being, and then thinking about being, thinking about my awakening, thinking about love instead of being love, thinking about helping other people, thinking about being great. So there's our middleman. That's what's in the world as this deceiving force. We talk about the different factions of the world that seem to be causing the problems, and we can trace all of them back to identification with thinking, or we could call it an excess of thinking and a deficiency of being human. So we're thinking and not being, and not doing in a way that is corresponding to that beingness. So that's sort of what's going on, at least in my life. That's the sense I've always had, is that my thinking is running the show. Maybe I have glimpses of beingness, and glimpses are nice. They're kind of like getting high every once in a while or something. You get glimpses of the true nature of reality. And then it's sort of like going back into thinking of myself as a human, the human body and my human needs, and and going back to the beingness every now and again when things get really bad. But for me, it never felt like I was just being human. I could never just make that leap away from the excess of thinking, because it seemed like a real leap, when in actuality it's a distanceless journey, because it's beingness. It's not like a flight somewhere. It's not like you have to project into some other space. It's that the beingness is already present, and it's present as my humanity. It's present as my physicality, as my bodily functions, as my bizarre emotional patterns. It's all there, and it all needs to be kind of processed by the beingness, not by my conditioned human thinking mind. because that's what I've been identified with. You know, I'm a human being who thinks, and now the revelation is ongoingly that I'm a human being that is. I is a human being, as opposed to, well, not even as opposed to, including everything. It's just that the emphasis shifts from the thinking about myself to being myself and including everything in myself instead of partitioning. Like for me, you can't see the lower half of my body right now, but that's basically how I lived. That's basically how I was living my life. Was basically from about not even here, like from maybe here up, and then I started to include kind of the emotional sense and, you know, different like the heart and, you know, all that sort of thing. But I always wanted to cut something off. I always wanted to take something out of the picture that I felt was bad, which was basically sexuality, taking a crap, you know, like the gross bodily functions, the ones that we call gross. Like, ew, that's gross. And that's where I put all my garbage. That was the garbage dump. And it, you know, it continues to unravel. And it's only started to unravel in actuality, because it's, as soon as I became spiritual, I put all my stuff basically like in that lower region. It's like, okay, I'm spiritual now, so that means good thoughts, good feelings, light, and, you know, being a good guy, being a good boy. So all this other stuff has to go. And where can it go? Where can I put it? Oh, I know, I'll put it where no one sees, in my private area, you know, in my private parts. I'll put it where even I don't go very often, you know. And it'll just be my secret that all this stuff is still kind of sitting there and percolating and messing up my life, to be quite honest. You know, all the stuff that's repressed isn't really repressed. It's still there. It's like, you know, it's a parallel to the whole landfill thing, right? We have landfills, and then we think, oh, our garbage is gone. It goes in the truck and it goes away. You know, but it, you know, it sits there on our earth. And in the same way, all of our emotional garbage and, you know, unconscious patterns, it's like if we think of ourselves as our own kind of body in the same way that the earth is, you know, we've made a zone in our body to keep all the garbage, and yet it pollutes the entire system. You can't contain it because it's all one. How can you contain the? It's like trying to contain the ocean and saying, okay, my wave is here and yours is over there, and you know, here's my wave, and then here's the drops of water I don't like of my wave, so I put them over here, and you have these weird dynamics that involve splitting yourself, dividing yourself unto yourself. And then, of course, the solution is to be yourself in your entirety right now, and not have to really not have to think about it and not have to analyze it. Just the simplicity of being ourselves and allowing it to unfold from the intelligence that is greater than me, which is pretty much any intelligence at this point, because from my track record of managing my life as a limited me, well, we can see what happens. We don't have to talk about it. Anyway, thanks very much. I'm always available for discussion. The websites are listed. I'll put my email as well. And have a good one. Bye.